This is going to be kind of raw on many levels. We just got back from 2 weeks camping. I busted my lip. My teeth went through my lip and it's all bruised and hurts, and here I am in all my natural shining humanness. I couldn't sleep last night, and so I wrote this, and I'm gonna read it because I don't want to cry. Craig's dad died this past Friday. It was an easy passing, as death goes. Craig had just seen him 3 weeks ago and intuited that his light was going out. This 97-year-old man knew how to love and was loved by the family and the community where he grew up. All his peers had passed on. He was the last. I won't be going to the funeral. Are you shocked? Professing funerals are not celebrations of life. They are a trapped audience who has to endure the agenda and the propaganda by the officiating workers. They treat the funeral as a gospel meeting, which is a false gospel about a false Jesus. The person in the casket who wasn't sure if they would be in heaven or not while living is suddenly transported to heaven now that they are dead, because they believed in the workers and meeting in the home. The one true way, until the very end. I did attend Myrtle's funeral and vowed never to attend another 2x2 funeral after that. They are abhorrent and dark to me. I remember professing people going to worldly funerals and mocking and tut-tutting about how the person was eulogized and bragged about like it was the worst crime ever. The tragedy of Myrtle's funeral was that she should have been eulogized and bragged about and her life celebrated, because she made a lovely and welcoming home for hundreds of people her entire life. She changed an hour, a day, a month, a year, or a life by her presence and her kindness. She nurtured people and nourished them. Her food could cure anything that ailed you. She was an incognito introvert who put herself out there. Gordon and her were always the first ones up and the last ones to bed, cleaning up, feeding, planning, doing chores, while we all had a marvelous time on their gorgeous farmstead. Their hospitality was generous and legendary, far and wide. Myrtle's life was not celebrated at her funeral. Her decision, or her choice, as the lingo goes, was what was celebrated. Her choice to follow the one true way of the workers and meeting in the home was what catapulted her instantly into heaven after a long, difficult chapter of Alzheimer's, where the workers rarely visited her. Or when she was still at home with Gordon, they didn't ever come to help him. And he could have used their help. And she served them all her married life. Following Jesus was never mentioned. Amazing grace was never mentioned. Her Savior and Redeemer and Creator was never mentioned. The workers had an agenda, and they had a captive audience who, out of respect, stayed and listened to the word salad of an aberrant gospel. It truly sickened me. I wanted to march up and take the mic out of the hands of those workers and tell them to stand down, while we went ahead and celebrated this woman who meant so much to all of us. This woman who gave and gave and gave until her illness gave her a vacation from it all. Gordon's funeral will be no different. The townspeople who have known him all their lives will show up out of love and respect, and they will quietly endure the odd and irregular prayer and preaching as they wonder why the joy and celebration is missing. They will be puzzled, as usual. Our pastor came to a professing funeral one time and afterwards mentioned that it was like a heathen, pagan funeral. He scratched his head. I won't be going to the funeral because I will go insane sitting there. I might do something to embarrass the family, because I am a warrior queen who wants to fight the darkness that invades and controls these situations. Craig suggested that his classmate Paul, who still lives in town, might be invited to sing Amazing Grace. Paul has consistently visited Gordon over the last few years. He sings like an angel, and his thoughtfulness and care has been extraordinary and generous. That idea was struck down quickly and surely. It would not be fitting, which is code for he isn't an insider, he's an outsider. And worse than that, that song is not in the hymn book. So humor me as I eulogize a man I dearly loved. I'm going to brag him up all I want. He parented and fathered Craig in a wholesome and healthy way. He bestowed manhood on my husband and initiated him into every chapter as he grew from boyhood to manhood. His counsel and wisdom was asked for, and Gordon generously gave it. He gave Craig a sound and rock-solid way to live in the world as a citizen, a friend, a husband, a father, and a brother. When Craig and I first met, I was astounded that he called his father every single day. Craig has called his father every day possible for 36 years of our marriage because he wanted to, and he loved to talk with Gordon. I was fatherless, and he fathered me also, and I'm so grateful for that. When we left the 2x2 culture, he was hard on me because he was so disappointed that I led Craig away from all he held dear. Things were said. But I think he ended his last chapter proud of how he lived and loved. He said so, and that healed a lot of wounds. I'm glad he expressed his love and acceptance and approval. He gently told Craig, keep on doing what you're doing. That was affirmation enough. We didn't need it, but we're extremely glad to have had it. One of my favorite memories is of him coming in for dinner with a little spring posy he had picked out on the hills where a plow had never touched the ground. I watched as he gave it to Myrtle, and she put it in a glass of water and pecked his cheek. He cared for her for so many years until he couldn't, and his sons gave permission for her to be in skilled nursing. His mother, Grandma Pearl, told stories of when she'd send Kenneth and Gordon out to chop and bring in the wood. Gordon would get distracted by the butterflies or the dog or cats and be off obliviously chasing them with gusto and delight, while Kenneth dutifully got the wood. I think Gordon paid for that for the rest of his adult life. Kenneth was a slave driver, and Gordon his humble and willing servant. Gordon could make the milk cows poo on command by slapping his hands just so. He regaled us all with the story of the dog swinging on the tail of that one poor cow when the barn phone rang. He had gentle hands for children and animals. He knew just how beavers built dams, ate, and how they had their young. We thought he knew how to do everything, and we thought he knew everything. And I think he did. His cow dog waited all day for him to signal which cow to bring in, or when to bring the whole herd in. That dog wanted to work for the joy of it. I will say that this man had joie de vivre, which means the joy of life. It was pulsing out of him contagiously. He was a good man. He left a legacy in all 5 of his sons, who are good fathers, good husbands, good men also. I hope we get to be with him in the new heaven and the new earth, with new bodies, doing what we love, and being with those we love for all eternity. I love you, Gordon.